Hey guys, K2's Retro Workshop. Today we're working with our Mystic PowerPC upgraded Color Classic. This machine, I've been wanting to fix the convergence on this screen. We'll go over that later. The convergence on this tube is garbage. It always has been, and it's going to need a real adjustment. So we're going to fix that this video. But also, what's driving me to actually work on this machine right now is I have a second PowerPC card. This is actually the original one that we installed in here in the first video I did on this. And it's running a different model right now. The new model is actually a Daystar branded model and stuff like that. It has a cool feature or two that I want to explore a little bit more. And you know what? Let's get zoomed in on them on the bench and I'll talk about it there. Alright, here they are, right next to one another. Now, which one is the 100 megahertz model? This guy. There's two things that kind of give it away if you're shopping online and such. We have a Daystar logo down here. We have no logo here. The only logo on this guy is actually an Apple logo hidden back. You can see the very top of it right there. And this is the older model. This is the 6650 megahertz model. Now, it was like that because this only clock doubled the processor. And so when you ran on a Quadra 700, you got a 50 megahertz. If you did it in an LC575 or a Mystic like we have here, it was 66 megahertz. That's just what it was. There's no way to mod this to do clock tripling. I tried. I researched it. I followed traces on here. This model of upgrade card, this ASIC here, controls most of the functions on the board, and there's just not a way to tell it to clock triple. I don't have documentation of a hidden feature for that, but as best I can tell, your clock comes from that chip and you cannot clock triple this. So this one has a multiplier jumper on it so that we can run 100 megahertz on either 25 megahertz or 33 megahertz. We have our cache here. It's very similar. So we get about a 50% bump in clock speed on this guy. And, you know, we run bandwidth limited stuff in this channel often enough. The real world performance increase obviously isn't going to be 50%. But I'd say we're comfortable at about somewhere 15, maybe 20%. So let's get this guy in there. Let's fire this machine up. I'm going to run about an hour worth of benchmarks right now, and let's compare some stuff. I have threatened time and again to show this footage of the graphics benchmark for this machine running, and this is it. Currently it's in Excel. And yeah, it's building a document. It's building a actual full article in a magazine. And I should probably look that up and link to it or something, because I know a copy of it exists out there. But this is actually running super fast. I have some footage of this running in 68K mode and on the other upgrade card, and it's not nearly this fast. So I will try to put some comparisons on the screen right now, and if I miss that, make sure you call me out, because I hope I don't forget to actually do that. Alright, let's take a look at the benchmarks real quick. I know this isn't super exciting, but the pretty graphs are nice. So, in blue down here, we have the original 33 megahertz 040 at 35%. If we go up to the yellow, we have the 66 megahertz PowerPC upgrade installed in this machine at 111%. This is a processor benchmark, so the default system is a Power Macintosh 6160. So 60 to 66 megahertz, about a 10% difference, and there's your 10% difference. At 100 megahertz, we jump up from 111 to 132% on this benchmark. So that's pretty cool. You know, I could add another one here real quick. I do have the Quadra 700 PowerPC. So yeah, the pink one here will be our Quadra 700. Now remember, this upgrade, while it was 66 megahertz, also had 1 meg of level 2 cache. So we're at 132% down here at 66 megahertz and 132% up here with 100 megahertz, but a quarter of the level 2 cache. Hey, what can I say about that? So we'll jump down here now to the disk performance. The fastest was the blue line. That is the 040. It makes sense. We're on a 32-bit bus, so a 32-bit processor is going to have the most efficient use of said bus. And when we can move 32-bit chunks, we can potentially get better performance over the smaller benchmarks especially. And yeah, so at 100 megahertz, we have finally gotten within, spitting distance of that result there. Instead of being 50% off, we're only about 20% off now. So that's pretty nice. And then we go down to the graphics benchmark. Well, maybe not that far down. This is a CD-ROM benchmark. It's stupid. So here we have our graphics benchmark. And even the Quadra at 66 with a meg of cache only pulled off 82% of the comparison system here. The 040 and the 66 megahertz upgrade in this machine managed 77% on both. I noticed while watching it that the benchmark was going way faster than it used to on here, and this kind of shows that off. We're at 104% of the base system here. So yeah, it's quick. It's really quick. And up here, seeing that these two match each other with just a cache upgrade is phenomenal, and really does show the power of being able to cache stuff in a bandwidth limited bus situation. So I don't know if you can tell here or not, but this isn't super clear. And right over here we have a nice big red stripe because our convergence sucks. And over here it's blue. So let's mess with the convergence a little bit on this guy. Here we are, we're open, back of the CRT on the Color Classic. It's been a while since I've opened this guy up, which is a good thing. I'm happy about that. Knock on wood, knock on my head, let's not jinx ourselves there. I'm happy I don't have to open this up very often. So there's 3 ways to adjust convergence on the Color Classic. The easiest one and the one that's most common are 2 trim pots here that are supposed to adjust the east-west, north-south convergence. You then have the adjustment rings, and the adjustment rings here are for basically the center of the screen, and the center of the screen, once it's adjusted in here, you can then go, if you still have trouble, and adjust your convergence strips. This takes care of the edge cases. Now I'm noticing on here now something I hadn't really looked at before, but I'm actually noticing now after seeing a bunch of these CRTs too. There's some silicone glue on here, and the convergence strips also have them there. It looks like this strip used to be over here. So this has definitely had an adjustment or 2 done to it, and it didn't look great. Now I can't show you the front and back of this at the same time, but what I will do is show you the front of the screen while it's being adjusted and tell you where I'm making the adjustment from. Now, before I get into these adjustments, I'm going to make a nice line starting there and going all the way to the back here. And I'm doing this because I need to know where home was. So if I mess with these rings and I screw them all up, I know where to go to at least get the picture that I had before back. So let me get this turned around, get our utility opened, and let's see what we can do with our convergence. So what we're going to use here is the display service utility. And if I come over here, we want something dark with some lines or something across it. So this selection here will get us this. Now you can probably see what I'm talking about here on the screen. I really hope you can. You can clearly see a red and a blue on these bars here. So our adjustment is way off. Now, the adjustment for that is clocked all the way over. And it doesn't appear. You can see here how when you do the adjustment for east-west, the bottom here has now become basically a rainbow. We can pull that in and tighten it by turning that one pot all the way, but it doesn't fix anything else on the screen. So I'm going to turn rings starting from the rear one towards the front one, and we'll see what we can get here, while avoiding touching the high voltage back here, because that would be bad. Okay, so I've turned this ring over to the left quite a bit, and you can really see it now. We have terrible convergence here. So let's pull it back, and maybe this one just needs to go past where it was in the other direction. And maybe too far? No, it just makes it worse. So where it was is going to be close to the best we can get here. That was actually set up right. That is not what I wanted to experience here. But it is what it is. Okay, so the next one, the glue on these sometimes makes it difficult to independently turn rings. And that one is being a bit of a pain in the butt. Let's see if I can get it to separate a little bit, rotate by itself. You don't want to pry too much back here because you're going to wind up breaking something if you're not careful. Or shocking yourself. Don't do that either. Well, let's try the frontmost one, because it does turn just fine. And look at that. By moving that front one, I'm able to, wow, that cleaned up a lot. So in the middle of the screen here, every other one doesn't seem to want to turn. There we go. So what does this adjust? It looks like it's throwing blue way off. But I want it to go that direction. Huh. Maybe I only need to adjust these two. Because that is looking pretty sharp. Okay, too far on that one. Let's see this guy. Okay, so now my red's starting to pull down there, but I might be able to... No, that's not going to do that. Okay. So what if I pulled this one back? Oh, I pulled both. These rings are so annoying. These have extra glue on them, which I think makes them even more annoying than they were. Okay, so... we've got... our blue is still hanging out over on the right. So, do I have any others that I can adjust here to help with that? No. That one doesn't want to move. Neither does that one. So let's see. Am I making it worse or better? Or motherfucker. Dang it! There we go. That's way worse. Pull that in, maybe too far. Nope, not far enough. So that wants to be there. Well, I am not helping myself much here. Oh, was I having to go the wrong way? Okay. It looks decent. Now let's see if moving this guy helps with my red and blue there. Sort of. Not really. I really do want to tighten it up in the middle there, though. Damn, that looks really good in the middle. That is nearly perfect. Okay, so if we look here, we've got nearly perfect white in the middle here. So before I started really making these adjustments, I centered the two adjustments on the top. And so let's see where we can get if we just tweak them a little bit. Oh, that looks perfect up there. It's still cranked hard over, but... And then that guy, tweak the other way. Oh man, there's like almost no convergence issue there. Oh, that's gorgeous. Perfect, I didn't even need any strips. Nice. Yeah, there's no red line here anymore. Everything looks clean. Looks like I do need to adjust centering and such on this. Let's take a quick focus adjustment here. Let me go here to this pattern. And let me grab a adjustment tool that actually fits in there. I think it's the white one. Yeah. Okay, so we've got nice, good focus there. Okay, I don't think we really need to adjust G2 at all, but... Okay, yeah, that guy looks fine. Alright, so now let's adjust centering if we can. Which one is the horizontal width? I believe it's HS. That's too big. CRTs are so fun. Okay, managed to adjust it that way, which is not the direction I needed. Maybe a little green tool is the right size. There we go, that's right. So, how are we on centering? That looks good. Just out of curiosity, got some vertical height adjustment here. That looks good. Now the horizontal width, I've always had trouble with, because as you can see here on the side, it gets to the edge of its adjustment there. But that's about as wide as we can get it. So I'm going to live with that. That looks okay. And there we have it. We have adjusted in our CRT to take up the full screen. Convergence looks great. Focus, awesome. Oh, this looks great. Okay. Now we're going to go to the back and I'm going to show you how much I had to move these. Okay, so I've zoomed in on this as much as I can, I think. But right here I drew the line where my home was. These two adjustments here, these two, I don't know what they're called. I know they're adjustment rings, but I don't know what the tabs anyway, were nearly straight up and down before the adjustment. I had to move them 90 degrees over to here. Now, I don't know who messed with this screen in the past or whatever, but they did not set that right. So now I'm going to put a little bit of goop on here to set that and put this guy back together. We have one more thing to play with real quick. So here's our logic board with our jank battery setup. Now remember I said that this board could be used in a 25 megahertz system and a 33 megahertz system and get 100 megahertz for its processor speed? It does that because we have this jumper we can modify. So it'll do 3 times 33 megahertz or 4 times 25 megahertz. But what happens if we do 4 times 33 megahertz on this board? Let's find out. Move that jumper there, and let's install it. Okay, I wasn't necessarily trying so hard for the dramatic effect in that last scene, but potentially 133 megahertz setting on this. Let's see what we get. Chimed. I hear the raster. Is it going to work? Are we really going to be able to get 133 megahertz just... Yep. Just setting a jumper. Amazing. I did throw a little cooling fan back here. That's what these little wires here are for. To see... Yeah, I mean, we're running 133 megahertz, right? So let's... Potentially. We'll take a look at it and see what we've got here. This is pretty quick. Oh, I love this screen now. Man, I was so upset by how bad it looked before. Alright. Well, it booted up. Let's see what we got here. System profiler. 133 megahertz. Wow. Alright. Well... Let's load up MacBench, and let's do a processor test. Yeah. It seems to be running okay. Not much glitching or anything yet. Let's do a processor test before it fails on us and, you know, causes havoc or something. This processor test didn't take very long. If this works and is stable, this is a heck of an upgrade. And this is going to be the fastest plug-and-play, no solder Mystic you can actually build. I do worry a little bit about the power draw requirements of this.
What exactly are you a little bit worried about? I can help you better if you provide more details.
What is this? Jesus. I don't know what that was. Anyway, dang, 146%. So if we, well, let's save this real quick. 133. So let's save that, and let's open, what? Open? The 100 megahertz one. Yeah, 132 to 146. We did get a legitimate increase in performance here. Very interesting. So, okay. I kind of don't like my vertical height on this. I think I might need to shrink it down a little bit. That's another day. Let's open Diablo. Are we going to get a legitimately playable Diablo at 133? If so, I might have to find out if this can be a permanent mod. I'm betting it's going to need some cooling adjustment because 133 is quick. I think I can just cancel these. Okay, so single player. Load the game. I'm so excited. 133 megahertz on this guy. Woo! Can you even see that in the screen? Yeah, kind of. Let me turn some lights off here. Now the shutter speed's fixed, but you can see it a little better now. There's not as much glare. It's still slow, but it is quicker than it was. That's cool. That is impressive. I'm surprised that this thing just runs 133 at the set of a at just the setting there. That's nuts. I don't plan on leaving this here. I don't necessarily want the, I don't know if there's going to be any glitch issues or anything. So far things seem to be okay. What am I looking for? Sound. Seems to be fine. Yeah, it's running great. Well, maybe I'll run some more benchmarks. How do our flying toasters look? Flying toasters look great. Oh. Uh-oh. Is it starting to glitch out a little bit? It looks like it is. I was worried about that. Yeah, you get a little bit of heat in the processor and it won't maintain that. Oh, it just crashed a little bit. You know what we're going to do? We're going to shut this down and we're going to set it back to 100 megahertz. Yeah. Let me do that real quick. So yeah, pretty nice upgrade. That performance boost is pretty big. Now, I'm guessing that we need to up voltage maybe a little bit on the processor or something. It gets a little warm, but I'll be honest, this little crappy fan blowing in the back, it really wasn't that hot. You know, these things can run so hot, they're going to burn your hand, and I didn't have any trouble with that, so it probably just needs a little bit of a voltage bump. This is a 100 megahertz rated PowerPC processor, so it's either that or I get a 7200 120 and I do a processor swap, which I feel bad kind of doing that, you know, to buy another system just to modify that. Yeah, I know I didn't shut it down right. So, it's operating just fine right now. Now, there is more than one way to skin a cat. So it could be power draw, it could be needing a little boost in voltage or whatever. But another thing that we could try is what I tried on that other card. And I'm going to do a little bit more research before I have a video for it. But it's very possible that I could take this cache card and upgrade it to 1 meg and further performance that way. The early Apple branded model didn't have the data lines that it needed to be able to control the other 2 address lines that are needed. And as a result of that, it was impossible to do what we needed to on that card. So what I'll do on this one is I'll do a little bit of reverse engineering and stuff. I'll get back to you on whether that's possible or not. So there we are, the Color Classic upgraded to 100 megahertz of PowerPC performance. Gonna do further research and make a custom cooling solution for this, and I got all kinds of stuff I'm ready to do for it. We'll get there, but this video is already well past 20 minutes, and no thanks to the Convergence repair section, which, you know, it is what it is. It takes a long time, it's tedious, it is what it is. There's no way really around that. So we'll show some games and stuff next time. I'll try to trim some things out. We're not going to be doing real long-winded operations next time. So leave a comment below and have a wonderful day.